Short version for my low attention span readers lol. My husband, 27, his best friend, 27, and I, 27, all went to the same high school. Back then, I had a crush on my husband's friend, so I originally befriended my husband to get closer to him. After trying for a while, I eventually gave up because the friend got a girlfriend. Meanwhile, my husband and I became really close and eventually started dating. A few years later, we got married. My husband is still very close with his best friend, and we all hang out at our place from time to time. The problem is that his friend constantly brings up our high school days and mentions how I used to like him. I told him many times to stop, but he never listened. One night after a few drinks, I finally got the courage to call him out. I told him it didn't matter that I used to like him, because he let himself go and I don't find him attractive anymore. He got angry, and now my husband is torn. Detailed version. I met my husband in high school, back when I didn't think much of myself. We had a biology class together and sat next to each other. I thought he was cute, but I didn't pay much attention to him until I found out he was close friends with the guy the first had a crush on, who I'll call Jared. After that, I started talking to my husband more, and because he's genuinely kind, he welcomed it. Eventually, we became close enough to hang out outside of class, and through him, I got to know Jared and the rest of their friend group. I tried for a long time to get Jared's attention, but he never showed any interest. When he got a girlfriend, I was crushed. My husband comforted me and told me I was beautiful and that Jared just didn't see it. Not long after, my husband confessed his feelings. Being a stupid teenage girl, I agreed to date him even though I still had leftover feelings for Jared, mostly because I wanted to feel wanted. But after a few months, Jared became single again, and I realized I didn't care the way I once did. That's when I knew I truly loved my husband and only my husband. Years passed, and Jared went through a few relationships. His last breakup hit him hard. Sadly, his girlfriend cheated, and when that happened, he started coming over a lot to vent. Over time he changed from the confident and attractive guy the first once liked to someone more withdrawn, chubbier, and honestly not taking good care of himself. That's when the teasing about high school started. At first it was just him complaining about how he used to look, but then he kept bringing up how obsessed I was with him. I ignored it because I figured he was just reminiscing on his old days, but it didn't stop. Yesterday night he came over again and went on the same rant about how popular he used to be. Then he threw in another comment about how I was so in love with him back then, and even added, "I knew you liked me, but you were not someone I'd ever consider being with in high school, no offense." It was insulting, and even my husband looked uncomfortable. I was tipsy and fed up, so I snapped and said, "It doesn't matter because you don't even look as good as you did in high school. I don't care if I was never your type because you're definitely not mine anymore." He looked shocked, my husband gasped, and I immediately felt overwhelmed and apologized. Jared got up to leave, but he was too drunk to drive, so my husband took him to our guest room while I stayed downstairs in shock. We barely spoke the rest of the night. The next morning, Jared left, and my husband finally talked to me. He understands why I was upset, but he thinks it was wrong to say something so harsh when Jared is clearly depressed and struggling with his weight. I get that, but I'm still angry that Jared kept pushing the same hurtful comments over and over. It feels like he is bragging about how I used to like him, and it rubs me the wrong way. So, Reddit, be honest but not brutal. Am I the asshole? Side note. Yes, this is real. Yes, this is a throwaway account. Yes, I know it's random to be writing this at 2 a.m., but I'm very conflicted at the moment. Also, hopefully the formatting is easy to read and not annoying. I tried my best lol. Update. Hey peps. I woke up today to a lot of comments, and even though it was a bit overwhelming, I read all of them, and I mean all. A lot of people had negative things to say about my husband, which honestly hurt because I didn't think I painted him in a bad light. Somehow, he is being attacked more than Jared is. Skeptical smiley face. Before I get into the mini update, I've seen other posters add context and respond to common comments, so I'm going to do the same. This will be long, bear with me guys. My husband is not a terrible person. I still love him despite everything I mentioned and despite what I'm going to mention in the update. He is not weak or a beta, like some people said. He just struggles to confront situations like this directly. Jared has been his best friend since 5th grade. That is not a bond that breaks easily. They went to the same elementary school, high school, and university. They are basically brothers. My husband is not sucking up to Jared because he thinks Jared is better than him. If Jared weren't in such a low place, my husband would have been much harsher. I also don't think my husband is perfect. He has done messed up things in the past, but so have I, and I believe people can change. I do not have feelings for Jared. That ended years ago. And no, if Jared had stayed in shape, I still wouldn't have feelings for him. I stopped liking him during our first year of university. We went to the same school, and he still looked the same as he did in high school, so it wasn't his appearance that changed things. He broke up with his girlfriend, and I realized I didn't care anymore. The old me would have been excited and tried to shoot my shot, but instead, I felt nothing. I love my husband and only my husband. Jared is not an option for me in any way. Some people suggested Jared might have feelings for me, which is possible. He has made comments about my appearance before. I worked hard to glow up during my final year of high school because I wanted to improve myself before university. When my husband and I met up with Jared for the first time after that, Jared told me I looked very different. He said it as a compliment. My husband agreed because he thought Jared was just stating the obvious, not flirting. Divorce is not an option for me. I am very religious and I take my vows seriously. They are not something I would throw away over this situation. Divorce is not always the solution. So, before you comment, divorce, remember that we are real people who have real history, and it is a lot harder to divorce someone than you think it is. Update. I did not show my husband the post, even though many people suggested it. A lot of the comments felt sexist and harsh toward him, and I don't want to expose him to that. But after reading everything, I did want to talk to him about his inability to stand up for me. He told me he didn't want to isolate Jared right now. I didn't know this before, but according to my husband, Jared became a bit suicidal after the breakup with his girlfriend, and my husband was the only one who could pull him out of that downward spiral. I felt sympathy for Jared, and I told my husband that. But after reading so many comments, I realized that doesn't excuse Jared's behavior, so I pushed for more answers. I also asked my husband if it made him uncomfortable when Jared constantly brought up high school. My husband paused, and I immediately knew he was holding something back. I kept pushing until he finally told me something I never thought I would hear. During our first year of university, Jared started mentioning me more during private conversations with my husband. My husband felt proud of dating me and kept saying things like he had invested in me. That already hurt, but it got worse. He admitted that he used to brag about my body and looks to Jared, showing him pictures of me dressed up for date nights. Then it escalated. Jared ended up seeing a picture of me with no clothes on, something meant only for my husband. According to him, it was an accident because he was scrolling through his photo album and the picture popped up. My husband said that when Jared started bringing up high school, he was scared Jared might bring up what happened in university and that I would be furious. I am disgusted knowing Jared has seen me like that. It makes all of his comments about me so much worse. My husband is at work right now, which is why I have time to write this. I'm still processing everything, and I feel completely lost. I didn't want him to be late for work, so we weren't able to talk much. Knowing him, he is probably at work stressing right now about me knowing the truth. If it really was an accident, I feel like I can't be completely mad, but it still feels awful knowing my photos were shown without my consent. I feel betrayed, even if I don't think my husband meant for that picture to be seen. I'm still angry that he bragged about me like I was some new sports car he got a great deal on. I know this is going to make a lot of people hate him even more, but I genuinely don't think he intended for any of this to happen. I know this isn't the update most people expected. I still need to talk to my husband when he gets back from work, and I'm hoping I can invite Jared over later today for a conversation. I will try to update as soon as I can because I hate when updates take so long. I appreciate all the comments that were respectful toward me and my husband, but I do understand the outrage. Thanks for reading this long update. And thank you to everyone who commented on the original post. Edit. Made a comment earlier that wasn't getting noticed, and got buried. Sad face, so I decided to add an edit here. I won't post an update until tomorrow, when I have had time to gather my thoughts. I have spoken to my husband since the update, and let's just say things are not going great. Just because I want to clear things up, I'll write it here. When I say I'm religious, I mean I am Christian. Divorce is frowned upon in my faith because it is believed you should never marry someone you aren't completely sure about. This is not saying I wouldn't divorce him if he did something extreme like cheating or abuse. It is just acknowledging the importance of commitment in a marriage. The people hating on my religion and saying I'm brainwashed are being incredibly irrational. You have clearly jumped to conclusions based on your own biases about certain religions. I apologize if it sounds like I'm excusing my husband's behavior. I absolutely think what he did was wrong, and today we discussed a few things related to his spineless behavior. I won't talk much about what we discussed until the update because he has decided to have a one-on-one conversation with Jared. I'd rather wait until then to piece everything together meaningfully. My husband will be made aware of this thread, because I believe I may have been coddling him too much. I will probably show him after posting this comment, and if all goes well, I will try my best to update tomorrow when he speaks to Jared. I repeat that my husband is not a misogynist. Although some of you think I am a typical stay-at-home trophy wife, I am actually a business owner, which allows me to work from home. Even though my husband makes more than I do, he does not dictate our finances or act like the man of the house, or anything like that. Please understand this. I would never date a misogynist, let alone marry one. My husband is not the type to reduce women to their bodies, despite some of you believing I'm his property. I fear some of you have lost the plot. My husband is not the type to hide spicy folders. Just last year, we made a folder of our spicy content and put a password on it. He never used to do that. I recently asked him to do it to protect our privacy, since he doesn't let anyone near his phone anyway. I genuinely believe he was scrolling through pictures of me in his gallery, and the photo popped up. Although one commenter made a good point about why he made such a big deal about it, that is the only thing making me question the situation. I want to thank the people who were extra harsh because it was definitely a wake-up call, even though seeing all the negative comments was starting to get to me. I do believe you all have the best intentions, and I truly appreciate how people from different countries can come together to talk some sense into me despite never meeting me in person. I might sound naive or stupid to some of you, but it is much harder to notice red flags when you are the one experiencing them. Finally, I will not be divorcing my husband. I've seen people mention therapy, and I think that is justified. I'd rather talk things out on our own first, since I'm not great at confessing my feelings to real-life people in person, especially when their job is to judge you. I believe my husband can learn from his mistakes and change, just like I have in the past.